Notifications per day, with the ringleaders telling everyone to go spam someone's live stream or DMs with really racist and horrible stuff. I've also heard from other YouTubers that I've watched that these UTTP members possess cheese pizza and also extort young girls to hurt themselves. There is some irony, however. In the official UTTP, you aren't allowed to post this type of content. However, it's important to note that in the official server, the only channel that you have access to upon joining is called Spambox. And if you
The beginning and origin. So I started originally as a UTTP member in a group I created called SRA. I'd often pick fights with UTTP, commonly Emperor Jimmy's Porges server back in 2023. I eventually decided to spy with help from Thekonk, who turned out to opening parenthesis EXPECTEDLY, closing parenthesis dot. Be Admiral Scorch, also known as Admiral Midnight. Aside from the cat blender video, for the time I had never seen any real gore, since I was a bit of a loser at the time online. This was when I saw shit like Kid G.O.R.E. and so on. I made a sleek officer and was admitted into UTTP under the alias Durburger, which would later change. It was extremely funny at first getting reactions out of ragebait prone 11-year-olds in the server's spam box when they reacted to G.O.R.E. and so on. I quickly rose the ranks, devoting more time to UTTP and a UTTP. By January I had become an officer, but I started to become more inactive because UTP was getting boring AF. Manual spamming was tiring and it was becoming difficult to make emails. I also began getting demoted by anime sucks who, at this point, had made peace with Jimmy and sought UTTP unification. Later, this false premise for unity would lead to Jimmy's ultimate downfall. Somewhere in late January, anime sucks along with Scorch, who did not seek to become an enemy of Jimmy's, both nuked his server and transitioned Jimmy's UTTP members into his. This led to the creation of what is now known as tyranny. Aside from a few loyalists, such as FPS, Jimmy essentially had no members and was forced to recruit a UTTP members into his group, which would eventually influence basically anyone to make their own UTTP group. All of the toddlers now in tyranny would LARP as UTTP and so on. A few days after tyranny's creation, a user by the name of Yaya, I don't remember exactly now, nuked his server and Jimmy went inactive for months. This led to me making a group called Tyranny and admitting a relatively new member from Jimmy's old server. This would later turn into Commando or whatever names he had. Let me emphasize I have forgotten many names on this topic after all this time. FPS joined while I was socializing Earl and wanted to originally DOX me and nuke the server, but fortunately that never happened. FPS joined me and we began to relate and talk about FB and so on. I just want to say, FPS is genuinely so chill. IFW him no matter the rag of bait. Douglas joined and one of my old SRA members called North Korea Paint _4 joined trying to act slick and messaging my UTTP account saying he was spying in the server while talking to my UTT account. Anyway, we started growing and turned into our UTTP, retroactively. Just want to say this text-to-speech is so cooked. So Jimmy eventually came back and confused to see me as a leader made his own server, urging people to join indirectly. Over time we grew and I became better friends with FPS. At this time, FP decided to nuke the server under pressure from anime sucks, and I woke up to the server destroyed, but sided with FPS even though it was mine. Very real CUCK. Jimmy sent one message in the server after it was nuked before going inactive for a while again. FPS became a general in the authentic UTTP server, ran by Anime Sucks after this, and I was thinking about leaving permanently, since it was heavily affecting my schizophrenia, and there was no point of continuation. Me and FPS then split off a week after and created a FFRUTTP, which was short-lived. Jimmy then came back for a final time before he was betrayed yet again and quit. After this, I came back to Anime Sucks UTTP for plans to destroy CUTTP, a LARP group made by an AUTTP member. I helped in this operation in which Admiral Midnight impersonated Purge, and got admin perms dot in the CUTTP server and nuked it. After this, I did finally quit, although I came back in the summer of 2024. This is where I started a TikTok operation, ideally to replicate the YouTube bots. This TikTok operation, I can't name it because it involves a slur, involved manual TikTok spamming with bypassed text and .didn single quotes t. Really reach a point where there was that much effectivity, but it could probably have worked better if it had more research into TikTok spam filters and account shadow bans. At this point, me and FPS owned the largest UTTP server in existence for the time, currently existing. This was when cheese pizza content started becoming extremely relevant in UTTP. And even for me, it's disgusting even for ragged bait. But I believe people just shouldn't fall for it in the first place. If YouTube comments claim to possess it, don't go on their profile and click the link. UTTP then got mass banned by Discord, and in this period I did try to envision a new UTT tactic for Admiral Midnight, where we would make fake movies for stream on random websites and people would click on it just for it to be gore. I quit after this. After all my exposure to GORE and similar topics, I eventually dived into the true crime community, which led to me making an empty threat online towards buildings I will not name, but I got arrested. I'm writing this not knowing if I'll ever be allowed on social media again, but if this has released, then I guess I am online. Anyway, my life was basically fucked in by this arrest, but I will not elaborate further. In this period of no internet, I have been looking at UTTP updates, and I have to say it's getting horrendous at this point. I will not participate for both moral reasons, and I will never commit a crime again in my life. Although if there is anything related to actual trolling potentially through softcore GORE, then I may come back. And also, I really want to speak to FPS and see if he did actually get arrested, but I do seriously doubt it based off the fact he's allowed online again after being arrested for something worse than mine. Also, I'm much more devoted to education now, although I probably will have time to be on Discord. So yep, what annoys me too is seeing these UTTP wannabes from somewhat abundant children's accounts, which are in single quotes T actual UTTP, just some kids wanting views. FPS, if you're watching this video, I'll probably have commented on your videos by now with my new Discord. Potentially, although that may change if it turns out I'm banned from Discord or, yet again, not allowed on social media. Well, I guess that's it.